Let's check it out, shall we? So, who are the rich people who live like they're poor? Any any guesses? Any guesses of rich people? I have no idea. I don't pay attention to celebrities that much. But shall we crack on?
Christian Bale drives a 2003 Toyota pickup,
Oh,
while IKEA's founder still flew coach after making 50 billion. But let's start with someone worth
actually, I maybe know one. Isn't like Warren Buffett? He's like a really rich businessman. Doesn't he like still go eat at McDonald's because he owns part of McDonald's or something like that? I think, right? Maybe he's on here.
300
Oh,
million who drives a Toyota Prius. Leonardo DiCaprio.
oh
In
shit!
fact, Leo
Okay.
liked his Prius so much he bought another 3 for his
Oh,
mother, father, and stepmother. Not to mention he
what a
runs
guy!
commercial over private flights, believing
To be honest, from what I've heard, Leo is like a down to earth guy. I I I actually have heard many good things about him as an actor. Well, just as a human being, not even as an actor. Apparently, he's a pretty stand up human being, from what I've been told. There's a lot of stuff with charities and whatnot. You always hear his name, thrown about how he's done something really nice for somebody or just been a stand up guy.
it's a greener alternative. He's therefore often seen at the airport looking secretive but fairly casual, although he only reaches peak casual when riding his bike through New York City. Now sure, DiCaprio
Gee.
does own 4 side-by-side houses in Hollywood, but when David Dobrik met him there, he described Leo as surprisingly normal.
Like, he opened the door for us and his dog got out. And so he had to go chase his dog. And that's where you go, oh my god.
Bro, that's rough when the dog gets out, man. It just shows that we're all human. Well, I might not be, but that's a different subject.
It's the guy from the Titanic, and this is the Wolf of Wall Street, but he's here at his house, just chilling.
And this even extends to how Leo treats his fans. I went up to him at a restaurant and his security stopped me. I heard him saying it's okay, let him through. He proceeded to give me an autograph and we talked for like 2 minutes. Absolutely down to earth and no superiority
See, here, stand up to Leo for being such a down to earth guy. But I feel like if you see a celebrity at a restaurant, you should not go up to them, right? That's their own private time. You should leave them be. If you're just walking, they've booked a table and stuff like that. If you see them walking down the street, sure, say hello, show your gratitude, say you're a big fan. If they're not busy, maybe ask for an autograph. But like when you've gone to like a private scenario like that, eating food at a restaurant, I feel like you shouldn't interrupt them at all. Let them be. Maybe just wave or something like that. And if they're interested, they will approach you if they're like, oh, it's a fan. You know. Yeah, I wouldn't go up to somebody in a restaurant. I feel like a tad bit rude, but to their own, right?
complex at all. Leo at least tries to live a normal life,
A
but
bit,
somebody who actually does is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. When asked how he spends his $320 million, Dave Grohl stated it goes straight into my bank account where it turns all moldy and smelly, given he basically buys nothing. For example, Dave Grohl christened his first credit card with the extravagant purchase of a Benihana dinner, and when asked about cars, he'd state, I drive a family car. Not a monster SUV, but a family car that fits 5 people, adding that his Tesla was impractical and the stupidest thing as he thought it was too fancy. He'd also get rid of his holiday home back in 2017 and now owns only one single Los Angeles property, which he calls a house that's just big enough. He'd add, I don't need even more money, cars, and gold chains.
That's
they
fair.
don't make you happy, and I'd rather be happy than stinking rich, concluding with the statement, I'm not a banker, I'm a musician.
Let's make it about the music. Let's not talk about money.
That's real, bro. That's real.
Dave Grohl is the Keanu Reeves of rock and roll, talented and humble, which also describes Christian Bale.
I can appreciate that, honestly. Like, not having too much for your means, right? Like, unless you have money, you would never know. But I feel like generally, if I won the lottery or something and had that sort of money, I probably would just buy a nice house and just settle down. Maybe just live off the interest. Just have a nice means of living, right? Just because I feel like money is not the be all end all. But my God, if you have money, does it like remove money related stress, right? Which is a lot of stress. I know obviously what they say is if you get rich, you have other things to stress about, but money's how the world works, right? So if you have that, at least that's one thing you never need to worry about, right? But no, fair play to him. Yeah, I think just getting a nice house, a car that works, it's all you need, really, isn't it?
After adding one more word, frugal. Similar to Dave Grohl, Bale
I
lives
probably
in a
would
nice
be
but
seen as very
simple Los
frugal.
Angeles property, although he'd
I don't like
recently
spending
announced
money.
he was dropping 22 million on 12 separate houses,
Oh, shit.
all of which are going to a foster care
Oh,
charity.
damn,
When offered
that's
a
so
luxury
good,
villa
man.
on the set of Public Enemies, Christian Bale refused, with the director explaining he just wanted an ordinary room. Christian is so modest and unassuming, which is supported by one of Bale's interview statements. Wealth doesn't mean anything to me. If a robber broke into my house, he'd burst into tears, and it wouldn't be worth stealing his car either.
That's what he drives around in. 2003 Toyota Tacoma. It's a good
It's
car.
a car,
Never
man.
breaks. He's like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's a
if
car.
someone needs me to carry something, I can put it in the back.
Christian Bale
Bro, I stand by buying older certain older tech, right? That's not a computer, right? So older cars, maybe like older dishwashers, older washing machines, stuff like that. They worked so much better 20 years ago than they do now. The manufacturers make them so they break, so you got to buy a new one so they make more money. You go back to the early 2000s and a bit before, and before that, shit was made, so you only purchase one of them, and that's it. Never need to buy one again. But it's changed now. They want it to break, so you buy more. So I feel him. Buying an older car is probably way, way cheaper and way, way more reliable, right? Also, man, my man buying all those houses just for foster, like foster stuff. That's top man, eh?
Bale's truck has become a notable Hollywood talking point.
I guess
not a
people have
bad-looking
this
truck
idea
either.
of Hollywood stars.
Right?
They're driving like the nicest cars.
What are you saying? The Tacoma's not the nice.
Bro, I think his car's nice, bro. Like, I genuinely think that car we saw here, I don't think this car looks bad. I think it's a pretty nice car, man. It's an off-road as well, So it's good for, all sorts of weather.
Notable Hollywood talking point.
I guess people have this
My
idea
dishwasher's
of
called
Hollywood stars. They're driving like
True.
the nicest
Cheapest
cars.
dishwasher.
What are you saying? The Tacoma's not the nicest car.
It's
How
a
dare you?
2006
How
Tacoma,
dare
right?
you?
2003, thank you
Oh
very
my
much.
God, that's
Yeah, and
almost-
second-hand even then.
And while he might have been spotted also driving a dusty Porsche, it seems the 2003 Toyota is his go-to daily driver. The joke's on everyone else because he's actually driving one of the best vehicles
Yeah,
to ever be
see, man.
produced. Bale described his life by stating, "I do the exact same as I've always done. I don't have an assistant, I don't drive a flashy car, I do everything myself. I go to the supermarket myself, the hardware store. It's something I would greatly miss because I'd start to feel like a prisoner, which might also
I also feel like if a celebrity does all of these, what you'd classify as like mundane tasks for a day-to-day life, I feel like that sort of stuff will also keep you like so much more grounded in reality, right? Because you have a lot of celebrities that they lose what it was like before they were rich and famous, right? They lose that identity that they had prior, which makes them relatable to a normal human being. Whereas like doing these mundane things like going to the supermarket and just picking up your kids from school and not having someone else do that sort of shit, it keeps you grounded, right, in reality. And it makes you appreciate the little things still, right? I feel like. Or maybe I'm just talking out my ass, who knows?
also explain why Bale has rejected most technology. Co-star Bryce Dallas Howard said he barely has a cell phone. He's not one of those flamboyant actors that need a lot of people helping him. He and his wife don't have a nanny, they live in a one-bedroom house, they're very low maintenance, low-key real people, but if it's a competition for who can live the cheapest, NBA player Kawhi Leonard might still be the winner. Because despite making $128 million over the last 3 years, Kawhi still drives a 1997 Chevy Tahoe because it runs and it's paid off. The car, which is proudly nicknamed the Gas Guzzler, sits outside his 2-bedroom San Diego apartment, although it's at the Wingstop just down the street that his frugality really shows. After landing a sponsorship with the company back in 2016,
Wingstop, is that the place that does like the 2 wings for like 99 cents or something like that? Let me guess, does he get those sort of wings?
They sent him a coupon booklet for free
Oh.
chicken wings,
Oh.
which he then accidentally lost, apparently leading to a panic attack.
Shit.
Wingstop also seems to be Kawhi's go-to place for autographs, but Ed Sheeran's go-to place for anything is the couch in his hometown.
Sure. Bro, Ed Sheeran. I've actually one time met Ed Sheeran. True story, true story. He is such a lovely, polite guy. I'm not gonna lie. He is super nice, Ed Sheeran. So down to earth. He's just nice. He's just a lovable guy, honestly. And I'm pretty sure I know exactly what they're going to talk about here. I wonder if they're going to bring up how he, like, one of his biggest splurges that he's ever had was buying Lego, bro. Like, I mean, he has a pretty nice house, actually. I think I've seen pictures of it before. But, like, yeah, he one time just bought shit tons of Lego because he let just the inner child in him go out, bro.
House. He made $775 million from his 2023 tour, but when asked about his bank, he'd state, "I use my Barclays student account. I'm not
Barclays student
upgraded
account.
because I don't spend much money. If I had all my money in one account, I would spend all of it, so I get an allowance."
Hey, bro,
but when
that's-
asked about how much the
Bro, that's a smart way about doing it. He gets his bank to set him so he has an allowance so he doesn't overspend. That's actually so gigabrain.
allowance was, he'd give a shocking answer. Maybe $1,000. I really don't spend much money. I spend most of it on taxis. Hotels
Fair.
certainly weren't a primary expense, as he'd sleep in Courtney Cox's spare room for 3 months straight, which might have been a mansion in Malibu, although he didn't
Fair.
need such luxury.
I do go to LA every now and then, go to wanky restaurants with people, and that is a side of my life. But I also live in the place that I grew up with my wife, who grew up there.
As mentioned, Ed Sheeran married his high school girlfriend and moved back to their English country hometown with only 4,000 people. Here he keeps up normal working hours.
I actually got the idea from Eminem. He works 9 to 5, goes in, does a studio, goes home.
And when asked
That's
about
fair.
lavish holidays, he'd state, "I'm ginger, so we don't really sit on beaches."
Yeah, my man doesn't have to worry about like spending loads of money going on like a nice summer vacation somewhere hot and warm because he's ginger. He's just gonna burn. I guess that's an upside, eh?
I can't think of anything less relaxing than sitting getting burnt in the sun. No, I just shut all my doors, turned off my phone, and watched lots of DVDs.
That's fair, bro.
Perhaps best
On the
resonating
binge.
with The Hunger Games, as Jennifer Lawrence is equally normal. Despite being often cited as the most successful actress of her generation, Jennifer Lawrence stated, "I'm in bed by 11 p.m. at the latest. I prefer that to hanging around Hollywood parties at night. Fame or being famous has never..."
Bruh. She needs to get. I understand not going to the parties and stuff, but she needs to get onto the gamer life, you know, up till 2 a.m. playing some video games, you know? Get her in here, play some Dead by Daylight with us.
impressed me, which might also explain why she refused to upgrade her Volkswagen EOS.
Hey, bro,
even
Volkswagens
after
are all right,
finding
man.
Initial success. She'd eventually splurge on an equally humble Chevy Volt while living in the same
Nice,
Los
nice.
Angeles townhouse that was bought for less than $1 million before the fame. She'd state, "I was raised to have value for money, to have respect for money even though you have a lot of it, with this respect for money leading to a life of extreme humility. I still look for bargains in the supermarket. Just
Yeah, why
because you're
not?
getting recognized by other people doesn't mean you've become anything special."
Look, man, like I have nothing against that because the reason why some people that are rich stay rich is because of how they spend their money, right? If you squander your money, you will not be rich, right? It's what happens to a lot of people who win the lottery. They just end up spending it all. If you know you still spend how you used to spend prior and don't just lavishly do stuff, right? You can still enjoy life. Maybe spend a little bit more, but you don't need to be spending all this money because all you're gonna do is get used to spending shit tons of money, right? And then when you got none left, everything's just gonna be awful. When you go back to what you were before, it's gonna seem like absolutely horrendous because you've gone from those super lavish things that you could not ostensibly keep going forever, right? And now you're back to what you had before. You know, it's all about planning ahead, right? And she's obviously, you know, very, very chill.
And according to Ingvar Kamprad, being a billionaire.
I wonder if he's
didn't
got a
make him
video where it's
special
like the
either.
opposite,
By
maybe.
starting
I don't
the
know.
Swedish furniture brand IKEA,
Oh,
Ingvar
IKEA!
built a net worth of $53 billion, and in
Damn.
2004 briefly overtook
Okay, look, if you had money like that, then you could do whatever the fuck you want, bro, every single day. I don't think you physically, even if you had like an entire 70 years, I don't think you'd be able to spend 53 billion, right? Even if you spend, how much would you have to spend in 70 years to use up 53 billion? Like, how much would you need? How many, 70, how many days in 70 years? I can't be asked to calculate it. All right, so we've got that. We've got 53 billion. Is that billion? Wait. What? Wait, let me go. 53. So that's 50,000 divided by that. Oh my god. That's a lot of money. You'd have to spend like that 2 million a day. You'd have to spend like over 2 million a day to spend 53 billion in 70 years, bro. Like it ain't happening. It's you can do whatever the fuck you want, bro.
Bill Gates as the world's richest person.
Go to Waitrose every
Despite
day.
this, Ingvar was known for driving a 1993 Volvo 240, which he drove around his hometown, known for having frugal people. It is in the nature of Smartland to be thrifty.
Obviously, these rich people like him, they don't squander their money because so it becomes generational wealth, right? As well. I know.
If you look at me now, I don't think I'm wearing anything that wasn't bought at a flea market.
That's
and
right.
Ingvar was even committed to always flying economy.
Honestly, I have the money that I could wear designer clothes. I completely understand this guy. I could buy all the designer clothes I want, but I don't because I'm like, who the fuck cares, bro? If I don't care about what I'm wearing, what does it matter what other people fucking think? I just go and buy some really nice, just plain tees, right? And I can get like some really high quality t-shirts or polo shirts. I'm wearing one now. It's just a plain red polo shirt, right? And it cost me, what was it, £8? That's it. It's comfortable. It lasts the wear and tear, like, and it looks fine. You can still look good in non-designer clothes. So I don't ever see the point of designer clothes. I genuinely don't. To me, normal clothes cost enough as it is. Why the fuck am I going to buy like a polo shirt that's like £80 because it has a specific logo on it? Like, this shirt's probably made out of the same shit that shirt's made out of. The only difference is one of them has some fancy ass logo on it most of the time. You know what I mean?
How the hell can I ask people who work for me to travel cheaply if I'm traveling in luxury? It's a question of good leadership. Best to stay in touch with the real world, although he might have been so cheap that the world lost touch with him. Normally, I try to get my hair cut when I'm in a developing country. Last time it was in Vietnam.
Okay, yeah, I think he's gone a bit too
2018
far.
as the world's 8th richest person, and while Mark Zuckerberg isn't popular with everyone, he definitely maintains the legacy of frugal billionaires. He's currently the 4th richest person on Earth with 170 billion, but wears the exact same shirt every single day, reducing decision fatigue while...
Hey, like, I don't know if I'd go with the exact same shirt every day. Like, if you got like a variety of like different colors, that'd probably be a bit better. But fair play to him, you know. He's a lizard man that makes the teas work, you know.
making his life simple. Now, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Zuckerberg owns 5 side-by-side Silicon Valley houses. Although it's not like they all have tennis courts, the primary residence is nice but fairly normal, and is 10 minutes away from the mega mansions in the nearby suburb of Atherton. Zuckerberg owns an Acura TSX worth 30 grand, a Honda Fit worth 18 grand, a Volkswagen Golf also worth 30 grand, and a Pagani Huayra worth, well, 4 million. But for the most part, his checklist is safe, comfortable, and not ostentatious.
Like, to be honest, for how rich he is, you know, having these little tiny things, like yeah, he's got really normal cars, then he has one really expensive car. But to him, like 2 million is like chump change, right? Let's rob him.
Tyler Winklevoss called Mark Zuckerberg the poorest rich person I've ever seen in my life, although he perhaps hadn't seen Lil Dicky, who made a whole song about how cheap he was. It was appropriately titled Saving Dat Money,
Saving
for
that
which he'd
money,
make a music
boys.
video without spending a single dollar.
The concept of the video is how can I make the most epic rap video ever for no money?
He'd therefore visit mansions, boats, and clubs, trying to convince random people to let him use their stuff,
That's
all of which
fair
being
play,
done
bro.
while wearing the cheapest clothes possible.
That
Instead, you
is
hear a
the
lot of rap songs
best.
about spending money. I thought, wouldn't it be funny to make a song about saving money because it's ironic? But beyond irony, I genuinely have pride in saving money. I'm a relatively cheap person who, to me, it's not cool to overspend, it's cool to get a great deal. Within the song itself, Dicky admits to using his cousin Greg's Netflix account, getting his hair cut with several months in between, and wearing the same pair of jeans every day. Also
To be fair, like when you have longer hair, like this guy has like like fairly long curly hair, like it doesn't matter that much how often he gets it cut, right? Because curls like just get curlier and you can't really tell. They just your hair just gets thicker, right? Like my hair at its length right now, like I only get it trimmed every, like 3-4 months because to get rid of the dead ends on it. Like yeah, like when your hair gets longer, you don't have to upkeep it as much, right? Comparable to when it's shorter, because you have this really awkward length when it's short and it just looks a fucking mess. But longer hair doesn't really have that problem. So I don't think you really see an issue with that.
showing
How
his
his hair
frustration
is.
with how famous music made him.
Mark, you seeing them? That Mark? Look what my life has become.
And then, of course, there's Adam Sandler.
He favors oversized clothes, untied sneakers.
For Adam Sandler, like it's such a controversial character, right? Because it seems to be like if you get on his bad books, he just won't talk to you. It's not like he's gonna be toxic, but like a lot of people won't like you. But a lot of people don't like they're so controversial about his movies. But like as a guy himself, like the reason what's it called? Is it Davey Madison is his film company? His film company literally was made for the sole purpose to employ the people who he sees as his friends and whatnot, to make sure that they got work. Like what a stand-up guy, right? You know what I mean? Like
And a fresh from the hamper look.
His dress style is so casual, it's basically a meme. This man has more money than he knows what to do with, and still gets his drip from Walmart. Love it.
Yeah,
he always looks ready
overworries
for a
though, man.
basketball match because, according to this interview, he loves to
He
turn
is.
up and play with random people.
he's always ready.
Try to find a game somewhere, play, get a little sweat.
I once played basketball with Sandler during lunch break on Grown Ups. He has an automatic three-pointer and is as down-to-earth as any famous person I've ever met. I can't say enough nice things about the guy.
I literally go to any park. I see a game going off, and I go, all right, let me just walk in. I walk up. I'm
Just
okay,
like,
we usually
yo,
go,
boys, let me play.
that's what's his name? And then I go, yeah. And then I get a 5-on-5 going.
He isn't scared to photobomb a random wedding, get a standard breakfast at IHOP, or even
Oh yeah, I seen that clip about him going to IHOP. Like the woman didn't know who he was, right? And like he just treated him like a normal human being, and he didn't get all like funny about it. He just stood there and waited for there to be a table free. Like he just acts like a normal human being, which is weird because people point it out as if that's not how it should be, right? It's good that he's a normal human being, but like I feel like they could all be like that. Like, but yeah, sadly they're not.
a jar of pickles while walking down the street,
If I remember
despite
good
being worth
pickle.
almost $500 million.
Yeah, that was interesting. Like there was a bunches of interesting videos there, honestly. Yeah. I would like to see more celebrities, that just normal people. Hopefully he does like a second video, because there's definitely way more like celebrities who could fit in this title of world's richest people who live like they're poor, for sure. Or like you could even do one about just people who are humble, right? In general, change the title to world's most humble people, world's richest humble people, or something like that. But it was good video.